Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Global Kindness Going Viral. I'm your host, Karen Palmer. I'm the Mindful Media Mom and the Queen of Global Kindness. This is a show that is dedicated to showing you the people who are being part of the solution and giving you the opportunity to be a part of the solution also. So we have incredible guests today. I'm going to ask you to share where you're watching from. If you can type into the chat where you're watching from. I'm in Southern California and all of my amazing guests are out in New York City. So please type into the chat where you're watching from. I'm going to share my beautiful song, Global Kindness Going Viral. And I would encourage you to share this out to all of your groups, to share it on your timeline, and let's just fill this room with love and light. Here we go.
We're bringing kindness back. We're bringing kindness back. We're bringing kindness back. 'Cause kindness won't show up. Kindness won't show up. Kindness won't show up. Kindness won't show up. Growing and growing the more we speak. Kindness, passion, that is peace. I challenge you, you challenge me. We are one global family. This unity is all we seek. So spread this wide and find a way. Do something kind every day. Global kindness going viral today. Spreading kindness, it's just the only way. Global kindness, the key is global kindness.
So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to put this on so that we have everybody in. We have all of our amazing guests. And welcome, John Raymer's here. Debbie Garcia's here. Type into the chat where you're watching from, guys. Let us know. I think John is in India right now, getting ready to meet the Dalai Lama. So that's pretty exciting. So let me just share a little bit about these amazing, beautiful souls that are here as our guest. First, we have amazing Rick Ulfik, and he is the founder of We the World. We the World is to maximize social change globally until we have a world that works for all. A little bit about We the World is it's a global coalition that is building nonprofit organization that unites and amplifies the efforts of people, organizations, and movements working for the common good. We the World creates campaigns, platforms, and events that foster collaboration and promote solutions for peace, justice, sustainability, and transformation. There are advisors and supporters that include the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Jane Goodall, Deepak Chopra, and dozens of other visionary leaders and activists from around the world. We the World and the We campaign at we.net. So We the World has impacted the lives of more than 6 million people through their programs, platforms, events, TV shows, telesummits, and broadcasts. So they've also been reaching over 850,000 people each year with their network of almost 40,000 leaders and members of socially conscious organizations and businesses, which leads us to the wonderful Andrew Kane, who is the founder and executive producer of Planet Heart's annual World Peace Earth Day celebration. He's also a vibrational sound channel, a singer and soul writer, I love that, Andrew, and vibrational poet that's sharing his gift to be a connector and transmitter for world peace, oneness, and unconditional love, having been awakened to unity consciousness 21 years ago and activated with channeling, clairsentience, and receiving higher dimensional frequencies of galactic sound channeling and sacred chants and sacred poetry, all connected to oneness and peace. He is also the ambassador for peace, and in 2007, he had the burning desire, inspired by God and his higher calling, to begin creating the grassroots, heart-to-heart, interdenominational World Peace Earth Day gathering, unlike any other that has been seen in New York City, that celebrates and infuses peace, spirituality, and Mother Earth. His name, Andrew Kane, is scrambled as an acronym that spells reawakened, which he feels is his true soul name. So we'll get into that with him also. That's exciting. Jody Serrata is a life-changing metaphysical educator, channel, vibrational healer, and professional artist. Her in-depth intuitive abilities and her remarkable sound healing powers are used to create initiations and activations that instantly make major shifts in consciousness and healing. She holds individual channeled sessions, teaches classes, and creates multimedia concerts and events for personal growth, transformation, and the creative process. She's also the co-author of the book, Healing the Heart of the World from Elite Books, and she's also the owner and creator of the Meta Center in New York City. That's going to be exciting to talk about that with you too, Jody. And Dr. Kurt Johnson has worked in the professional science and comparative religion over 40 years, a prominent figure on international committees, particularly at the United Nations. He has a PhD in evolution and ecology and is the author of over 200 scientific articles and 7 books, including the influential book, The Coming Interspiritual Age, and 2 award-winning books in science, Nabokov, Blues, and The Fine Lines. So welcome, everybody. Wow, this is such a great group here that we have, and I am just so excited to get started with interviewing each of you, and everybody saying hello, and everybody, all our beautiful global family from Tennessee, from Southern California. We got people from New York City. We got all kinds of beautiful global family all together here. So let's start with Rick. I'd love to have a little conversation with Rick about how his role in this growing, beautiful movement of the World Peace Earth Day began for him, and then how he is really taking this opportunity that he has with We the World to spread this beautiful, to me, Rick is the living, walking, beautiful prayer of life. He really is walking global unity. And so I think that it's so important that each and every one of us, I know, what a power hour, what a beautiful group of amazing souls that we have here gathered. I'm so honored and so blessed to have this time with each of you. So Rick, tell us a little bit about the background and maybe a little bit of the history of how you got involved with this beautiful event.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, actually, Andrew and I go way back to the 1990s.
Wow.
And Andrew can fill you in more about that, but we were working together in various different groups. And then when I founded We the World, Andrew came on board right away and became one of our major organizers. So when we launched 11 Days of Global Unity in 2004, with the help of Desmond Tutu made a video for it, and Jane Goodall and Marianne Williamson both gave keynote addresses at the launch. We had events in 125 cities simultaneously. It was a really huge thing that has grown since then. Andrew was one of the main organizers of that, and he went on to start the World Peace Earth Day celebrations honoring Mother Earth and going for world peace. I like to say it's a great combination of working for peace on Earth and peace with Earth. So his event each year has been focused on that. But We the World in general is promoting the idea of we. And Karen, when you played your original video at the beginning of our show today, you were focused on saving the lives of many animals, I noticed, right? You're doing animal rescue and all of that. And it made me think that that's part of the mission of We the World and the We campaign, because we're promoting the idea of expanding we to not just humans, but to the entire web of life. So if you go to we.net, which is where all the action is, you can see all kinds of things going on there, and all our partners are represented there. At the top, you see the rotating images are not just of the whole variety of human beings on the planet, but also dolphins and lions and ecosystems. And it's really an expanded way of thinking about we that includes the whole web of life, and in fact, the ecosystems that support all of life. So We the World really is promoting we in three different ways. We is a consciousness, which is the consciousness of the common good. It's about the well-being of every member of society and the whole web of life. We is a collaboration, and it's an ever-expanding collaboration that includes some of the largest organizations on the planet. We've partnered with Amnesty International and Oxfam and United Religions Initiative and 350.org and the International Trade Union Confederation with over 138 million members, and on and on and on. So it's ultimately it will be a global collaboration that we're working to take action collectively on the planet. And then we is also a campaign where the collaboration works in several different issue areas to create change, positive change, and peace, sustainability, and transformation on the planet. So if you go to we.net, you'll see that there are actually 11 campaigns for change that have come out of the 11 Days of Global Unity. And the campaigns include things like unity, of course, and interdependence, but also environment and economic justice and women's issues and empowerment, human rights, freedom, disarmament, and peace. So
and we're celebrating the Earth Month here too. We're celebrating all of the wonderful events that are happening all over the world globally for Earth Month, right? And tell a little bit about that.
Exactly. So Earth Month, we started this a few years ago to acknowledge the equinox as being the original Earth Day. When John McConnell, who was one of the people who helped to launch Earth Day in 1970, he actually proposed that Earth Day be right on the change of the seasons at the moment of the equinox, which is usually March 20th. And for some reason, it didn't really get launched until April 22nd. And yet many people, actually millions of people, still celebrate Earth Day, the original Earth Day, on March 20th. So what we proposed is Earth Month to span those two conceptions of Earth and celebrating the Earth that we live on and depend on. So Earth Month goes from March 20th through April 22nd. And if you go to we.net, there's a link there that has many different events and partners that are part of Earth Month. And all of them are actually on this call now. I think we're going to be hearing from John Raymer, who has the Compassion Games that kind of round out the end of Earth Month leading up to April 22nd. And of course, the main event that we're celebrating now is Andrew's World Peace Earth Day event on April 21st in New York City. And so, of course, we want to invite anyone who's looking at this show today to tell your New York friends to see to come out and be part of the World Peace Earth Day celebration on April 21st. And we'll also hear from Andrew whether this will be going live, will be live streamed or not.
Yeah, let's hear from Andrew. Andrew, let's hear from you, sweetheart. Let's hear a little bit about, thank you so much for being here, Andrew. And let's hear just a little bit about the backstory about how this got started for you 11 years ago. So, wow, what an exciting and such an inspirational event that you've put together here. How did it start?
Thank you. Actually, Rick said some of that. Actually, back in 2004, during the launch of 11 Days of Global Unity, when I was one of the original coordinators for 11 Days of Global Unity back in 2004, that started around the beginning of the year. And I was actually in Landmark Education taking a class called, what was it? I was taking a course for becoming gosh, I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, I created a benefit for We the World in June, I believe, right, Rick? June of 2004. We did a benefit, and I helped organize that. And I was really inspired by what Rick was doing with 11 days. And I also, that's when I started becoming interested in events and conscious events. And after the launch was over in 2004, it was a very auspicious year because I was adopted and I met my biological mother in 2004 as well. So, and then like 3 months later, after meeting her, or 2 months later, I found out I had a 3.5 centimeter tumor in my head growing. It was very big. It was an acoustic neuroma tumor that was going to take my life, really. And I found it by accident because I was in Landmark Education office making phone calls, and the phones were low, and I didn't know what was going on. And I had my ears checked, and I found that I had this tumor, and it was taken out completely in 2005. So my dedication to everything in my life, became illuminated even more. I had a spiritual awakening back in 1996, but in 2005, I was more like really wanting to do something for change. And in 2007, I had this burning desire. I really felt that God was talking to me to do this event. And it was actually in 1998. I met Rick back in the late 1990s, a year before We the World started. It was, what was the Foundation for Ethics and Meaning, right, Rick? And so right. This is the 20th anniversary for We the World, actually. And I'm really excited to be part of doing this event that I've been doing for 11 years. Basically, in 2007, I started it, and it's a project. In 1998, I got a calling for the name Planet Heart by the letter Earth, the word Earth. Take the last letter of Earth and bring it to the beginning of the word. It spells heart, Planet Heart. And I felt that God told me this. And it was in 2007 that I realized that I wanted to start an annual World Peace Earth Day celebration through that energy, infusing Planet Hearts, calling it the annual World Peace Earth Day celebration through Rick Ofick's We the World's organization, making it a nonprofit charity event to help support what Rick is doing and what I want to do, what I have been doing in terms of promoting peace and sustainability and Mother Earth, and really connecting to our heart. Because when we connect to our heart, we connect to all the hearts around the world and all the sentient beings in Mother Earth. We're all one heartbeat beating as one, and that's how I got the name Planet Heart.
That's beautiful. And then do you want to introduce us to Jody and let us know a little bit about the background here with Jody and how you guys...
it's interesting. Actually, I've known Jody for about 20 years now. I met her at the New Life Expo in 1997. A year after I had the spiritual awakening, I met her and Mr. Rabin, who's emceeing this event, and many other people. And I was on this, I was all alone basically when I had this awakening, and I really had no one to talk to. But when I met Jody and everybody, I was like, oh wow, I'm not alone. But Jody has been a big supporter of the annual World Peace Earth Day celebration. Not only that, she was in the very first one in 2007, and she's been in most of them. And also, I hosted my event at her Meta Center in New York for a number of years. So I've been connected with Jody for a long time, and she's amazing. And I love her work, and I love Kurt's work. I don't know when I met Kurt, but I think at least 10 years. And honored to have him as part of this celebration this year. And so this celebration is taking place in New York City. I don't know yet if it's being live streamed, but Al Leon from Bridge of Truth is looking into live streaming it again. He did it last year. So it'll be noted in on Facebook and on my website, planetheart.org.
If they want to go to it, they can get tickets at planetheart.org.
Yes, planetheart.org.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Jody, tell us a little bit about you and the beautiful Meta Center in New York City. We would love to hear more about your sound healing and the wonderful work that you're doing in the world too.
My work is about consciousness raising and healing, personal growth, transformation, and creativity. My background is painting. I'm a fine artist, a painter. And I do art. At this point, I do my art for healing through the visual vibration of the art. So I have concepts. A lot of times I do concepts where I project my art really large on screens so people can visually see the art. And then I work with sound through my voice from other dimensions and light languages that activate and integrate a lot of parts of yourself so that you can awaken your consciousness and anchor in your divine presence more fully in your life and in your body, really. So a lot of my focus about the earth is gathering the people. I do Akashic record readings. I'm a channel. So I read the records of the soul to help you to unravel patterning and help you to know what you're here for and why you're, what your mission is and why we're here on the planet to begin with. And just to allow people to help them to get back on track of accepting that higher conscious choice of coming into their bodies on the planet at this time in this incarnation while we're going through this major shift in consciousness. So so I help to initiate and activate people and awaken people to come into their mastery. And I've been doing my work for over 30 something years. And I awakened many years ago when I was about 19 years old. And I actually lost someone in my life who disappeared. And in that process of going through that, with someone I had been seeing for many years, and a number of years when I was that young, but like 3 years. And when this happened, it was an unusual situation at that time, obviously, and it awakened me into this whole different sense of myself. It triggered something in my consciousness through the disappearance. I wasn't sure. I really didn't believe in any religion. I was brought up Jewish, but I didn't really believe in much of that. And it awakened my spirituality and my consciousness. And I went through a shift where I kind of left and something else came in, and I kind of walked into myself in a higher level. And then I instantly knew what I was here for and what I was doing. And I was told many years ago that through the work that I do a lot of things where I bring big groups together. And like I'm helping Andrew for years, we've worked together, either me being in his things or I had things at my center. The center came through guidance from many years ago, that once my guides would help me to sort of direct me on how to get my work out there, doing readings, individual channel readings, as well as channeled events and my art and the combination of all these things, where eventually I would create a center. And they told me, I kept coming up with names, and they told me it had to be Meta Center New York, Multidimensional Education and Transformational Arts Center. So it had to be something that was a metaphysical center, not just a holistic or wellness center. It had all of those combined, but truly a metaphysical center, because that was my work, and that I wanted to bring in people from all walks of life, all kinds of people doing all of this work, and some of the things that were a little bit more mainstream, but also the things that were not, so that we can really ignite people and awaken people to other ways of believing in that is more than being on the earth, first of all, to become aware of that we're here for a reason as humans, a spirit in human form, but also in relation to the higher frequencies and the higher dimensions inside the earth and beyond the earth. So that,
absolutely. What a blessing you are to our beautiful world. Thank you so much. What's the best way people can get in touch with you so that they can follow you and contact you to, what's your website that they can reach out to you maybe?
Jodi Sirota, JodiSerota.com, JodiSerota.com. The other thing is, just to say, because the center right now is closed. We had it for 9.5 years, and it became very all international, and everything my guides told me about happened. The only thing is that we had a whole floor of a building, which they told me I would have. And a few years, like 3 years ago, they doubled my rent in New York. And so I couldn't afford to keep doing it. So I'm still contemplating the idea of recreating it in a bigger way, hopefully with somebody else's money to help us and support it. But people everywhere are still telling me it was the only center in New York that really was a true center. There's a lot of rental places, and this really brought in all the people from all over the world to do. So hopefully recreate it again.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. I feel so blessed to know that you are working, and it just feels so good. And I know everyone who's watching this live or on the replays is going to be so inspired by that work also. So thank you so much. We're all having this multidimensional experience, and we're all, learning how to navigate these energies and really be in this physical body. So Kurt, tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing in the world. I'm loving all the beautiful magazine that you put together, and maybe you could just give us a little background information about you and how people can get in touch.
No, absolutely. So and a little bit about how I got to know these other folk.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, the best way to see what I'm doing, to cut to the chase, is to just take a look at www.unity.earth, which is just Unity Earth. So www.unityearth, and you'll see all kinds of stuff going on there. Now, where that has grown over many, many years comes from a straddle that I've really held, as you said, for about 40 years, where I was a very much an established voice in the interfaith and interspiritual conversation among the world's religions, both from originally being in the Order of the Holy Cross and becoming an interfaith leader in Christianity, and then at the New York Interfaith Seminary, where I've been nearly 30 years. But parallel to that then was at the American Museum of Natural History, and had my doctorate in evolution and ecology, and was, an established voice also in the mainstream of science. So where all the religions and spirituality were trying to get at a global level toward this instead of this, and how science was also trying to move toward a holistic understanding of what it is, and to try to build this world, which is about this and not about this, was really running those parallel tracks for all those years. So started out as one of the founders of the interfaith interspiritual movement, and then one of the founders of what's become the pro-social movement in science, which is actually really a redefinition of Darwinism as it's understood now in current science, that it's all about choosing the best cooperator, not the best competitor. And so that's a huge shift in science understanding that actually biology picks the best cooperator, not the best competitor. We have a lot of educating to get politics, economics, and the rest of the world to understand that, but social Darwinism, has really had it dead wrong. Now, I was very lucky, long story real short, that during those early years, because there was no internet, people thought that the Kurt Johnson that was working in religion and spirituality and the Kurt Johnson that was very much out there and working in science, that they were two different people. And it wasn't until Wikipedia came along that people came to understand it was the same person. And that was good because that helped me not get marginalized in mainstream science. I think in that era, long before now, where these crossovers and straddles are much more well understood, that I could have been marginalized within science simply because of my deep interest in consciousness, which now is quite kosher. So long story short, the way that I met these guys is really through the nexus of the UN, where a lot of us serve on committees and different projects. And probably one of the biggest one of those that Rick's been a big part of is the International Day of Peace and the 11 Days of Unity that run up to the International Day of Peace, which again are event upon event upon event going on upon how we build this cooperative world of all of these sectors of culture working together instead of separately. So in recent years, then I've been doing projects, as you'll see if you go to unity.earth and you look at the road to 2020 under events. But we've been doing events all over the world, 10 different countries, and same very much that Rick is doing. So Rick's been very much involved in that. And instead of looking along with us and Shift and Humanities Team and Ken Wilber's Integral Life and all these other groups that are laying out this, what we call Road to 2020, but to try to change the global conversation in these really, really perilous times. So the last thing then is simply that all of us on this group then became a part of the Friends of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, which I think everybody knows that the Institute of Noetic Sciences was founded by astronaut Edgar Mitchell to again work on this bringing together of the scientific culture and the sacred and spiritual culture. And the Friends of Institute of Noetic Science is one of its big support groups. And the 20 of us are on a wonderful board in New York City that does that work centered in New York. So a lot of nexus here between the four of us. So it goes back quite a few years.
I love it. And maybe you guys could tell me just a little bit about the event itself and maybe some of the things that you have planned that are that you are going to be doing at the event.
Well, there's going to be inspirational talks by many people. Kurt Johnson is one of our presenters, along with Jody Sirota. She's going to be sharing her work, what she does with vibrational sound activations. And there'll be opening and closing ceremonies. And Mitchell Rabin, who's also part of FIONS, he's going to be emceeing and hosting. He's from A Better World, TV and radio. And Ron and Victoria Friedman, who are also with FIONS, they'll be presenting, and they're wonderful. They're just, their work is really extraordinary. And we also have Barbara
Bijou.
Thank you. And she's an amazing teacher. She
does rituals and ceremonies.
She does a lot of rituals, and she's like you can actually speak more about her than I, but her work is extraordinary, actually. She's been teaching for many years. And we also have musician Premick Russell Tubbs, who is an accomplished multi-instrumentalist. He's performed with many known artists, including Carlos Santana, and I can't think of the others, but he's been with many people, and he's going to be performing that this April 21st It's taking place, by the way, on April 21st, Saturday, 2018, from 6:30 p.m. sharp to 9:45 p.m. at the New York New Church in New York City. It's kind of in Midtown, right, Jody? East 35th Street, 114 East 35th Street. And we also have Danny Ellison who's going to be singing and performing with Pramik. And of course, Rick Olphick and myself. So I'm going to be sharing a poem. I've been writing these sacred poems that have been coming to me since 1998. And so Ron Friedman is also a poet, so we might be sharing something. So they're experiential. So it'll be a very beautiful evening of different talks and activations and prayers for world peace. And so I'm really excited. I'm so honored to have Jody helping produce this again this year to help me organize it. And Rick, who's been a big supporter, of course, since the very beginning. And, we're all one heartbeat. So it's really about coming together in the global community. And I'm hoping this gets live streamed so that it is going to be global during the evening. And for sure, the whole event is really geared towards connecting to our heart and connecting to the planet's heart.
And all of us have pretty much known each other for many, many years.
Yes, many years.
Our own work, but we all seem to keep connected, reconnecting in many different ways for different kinds of events. And even Mitch Rabin, who's not on tonight, but he also has been a big voice in New York and around the world a lot. So he's going to be part of it as well, the MC, but he'll share some of his own information. But it's basically about world peace, also about honoring the earth and celebration of the earth and being humans on the earth at this time, because it's a major shift. I'll be talking a lot about the shifts that are taking place and why people are feeling the way they are. And all of us together add a different kind of thing, but similar and for the same focus. So
Could you maybe go into that just a little bit with our audience, just a little bit, so that they might know what you're talking about a little more clearly? Hi, Melanie. Hi, Sam Kings. Hi, Rebecca.
In terms of, what did you ask me? Sorry.
If you could just explain a little bit about the shifts that are happening right now on the planet that you're going to be, maybe just like a little, little information about that.
We're basically, we're all going into more of a fifth dimensional consciousness. And it's only happened about 4 times on the planet that we've had this alignment with the stargates to be with the earth, to be able to have these shifts take place, where higher frequencies of energy are being directed or transmitted into the earth and into all the inhabitants and all consciousness. So it's an opportunity to really be part of, I feel like for all the inhabitants coming, people who are incarnated on this at this time are part of the changes, so that when we're coming into open-hearted consciousness, which is I think Kurt was just talking a little bit about that, we're all coming together, for the goodness of the whole. So rather than individual, but obviously on the planet right now, there's a lot of controversy, conflicts going on, and a lot of things are being brought up to the surface, I think karmically, to be able to be let go of and released, so that we can really bring ourselves to a much higher level of wholeness and having the awareness of the polarities of different things, so that we don't have to go from one side to the other. We actually, through compassion, compassion for all sides of patterns, to go into wholeness, to move to a much higher level of fifth dimension. And then hopefully sixth dimension is where we can maintain that. So
then one thing I was going to mention.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you. That's a beautiful way of expressing it. I've heard it so many different ways. I love to hear everybody's different perspective. I love to have a narrative about it, because I think, and Kurt, yes, please share your opinion also.
Oh, I was just going to say that one of the things that we're all involved in, and including John Raymer, who's also on this call, is what we call creating the media assets in order to facilitate this conversation across so many groups scattered all around the world, but this convergent mass of groups that are doing this holistic work. And that really then explains what you would ask about the 2 magazines that we've created. One, which is, we say, is our growing up magazine, is our Building the World magazine, called The Convergence. And that's it's a bit more policy oriented and head oriented and concept oriented. It's the Ken Wilbers and Dustin DePernas and all those folks. Then the other magazine is called Light on Light, and that's actually a magazine about spiritual practice and spiritual living. It's really our Waking Up magazine, which was just launched actually just last week. And you can
And
find
they can sign up to get that magazine at the unity.earth. Is that what?
The best way to do it right now is to go to Facebook and just hit Light on Light at Facebook and
Okay.
go to the Facebook page and like it, and we'll
Okay.
see that. Or just write to the editor, which is editor@lightonlight.us.
Okay.
And so that we had 4,000 reads the first day. So obviously that's meeting a need. But the reason it's meeting a need is, like Jody was saying, we've involved so many voices, which is exactly what Andrew is doing in this program on the 21st. There are so many voices that are dialoguing. And then the last part is the radio show that we do on Voice America, which again is called The Convergence. And it again is everyone meeting everyone else and talking about this world instead of this world. And we were so surprised that we had 100,000 listeners in 2017. So obviously this desire that everyone has to share about where this whole conversation is going is huge at a global level. So we're trying to build that and share that out. And John Raymer, thank you. You've been a big part of that effort.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And Rick, you're going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary of We the World. So congratulations on that. And has it become what you envisioned 20 years ago? Do you see it? Let's just go back those 20 years back, and let's just look at that seed that was planted in your heart, and really what a huge vision you had placed in you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I don't think we're there yet, but we are definitely on our way. And it's interesting. Not many people know this, but the idea of We the World was originally a film concept. So in the 1990s, I had this idea that it would be great to have in the form of a film that showed how the world comes together to solve its problems. Because during that time, there was a lot of look out for number one happening, like me, as opposed to we. And so I thought that it would be a fantastic thing to see how this could actually take place, that people from around the world could work together to solve our collective problems. So I started writing a script, and I got about 100 pages of dialogue and scenes and everything. And about 6 months later, and it was a fictional idea, it was like looking in the future, how this could happen. And then it suddenly hit me, God, this shouldn't just be a film, this should really be happening. And that's when I decided to start the actual organization, We the World. And I started collecting visionaries to be part of our advisory board, like Jane Goodall and on and on. So I would say that in terms of the script that was written in the 1990s, we're at about page 60 of a 120-page script, or maybe page 70. I think maybe we've advanced that, but we're not there yet. We want to get to page 120, where the whole world is consciously together and working collectively to end poverty, end climate disruption, and end war as a means to resolve conflict. So those are the three big areas you could say that we've been working on.
What would you say would be the best suggestion for people who are listening that are saying, wow, I want to help that vision grow? Each of you, what would you say, what would be the best way for people to become part of this beautiful mission?
Right. Well, in terms of We the World, if you go to we.net, right there on the homepage, there's a link to join our We team. And you, Karen, are on our We team, which is fabulous. And we have these weekly meetings, and Andrew as well.
We're trying to bring as many people as possible, you guys, that if you know people who are in the media that have social media following, or people who you feel are just, really feeling called to want to be, a voice for the voiceless, please reach out to me, or reach out to Rick, or reach out to Andrew or Jody or Kurt, and let's all have this conversation continue, right? We're just letting this is what it's so beautiful that we have this wonderful technology where we can all be together here and have this conversation in real time, and then all the thousands of people who will watch it after in the replay, so even if you're watching on the replay, it really doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, let's take a moment right now to go into the unified field so that we can set our intention together. And let's just really bring this, since we have this beautiful moment together, let's just enter into the stillness and really find a place where we're all one inside of our heart space. And let's just follow our breath. Everyone who's watching, whether you're watching live or on the replay, you can just rest your hand on your heart if that feels good. And just follow your breath. And start to let go of the busyness of your day. And let's just enter in. Imagine going down into our heart space, into that beautiful, beautiful unified field, the place where we are all one, the place where the illusion of separateness doesn't exist. And we feel so blessed, as if this has been an answer to a prayer, just hearing all of these beautiful, beautiful souls who are living their purpose and living their message. And let us just set the intention that we all find in our heart whatever that calling is that brings us to the place of remembering our own magnificence, so that we can share that magnificence with everyone who meets us, and that they will remember their magnificence, and that we touch one heart at a time, awakening the true essence of the oneness and the unity consciousness, seeing a world where everyone is kind and loving toward each other, and where we are working for the common good of all. We ask this with all honesty and sincerity, and we are so grateful. That was a beautiful, beautiful energy to be in with all of you. Thank you so, so much. So beautiful. We are co-creating this experience as none of us really know exactly how it's going to go down, what's going to happen. We just know that we're co-creating it as we move along, and we're just being divinely guided to each other, and we're just holding each other's hand and walking each other through the parts that get a little confusing. And luckily there's a few people who may be a little more understanding of what's happening and can be the way showers and the guides. And you guys are so beautiful, and thank you so much for sharing your love and your light and your heart in such a beautiful, beautiful way. Welcome, Rosa Albert from Florida. Thank you for being here. I'm going to open the lines, so anybody who wants to type in a question for any of our panel here, anybody who wants to ask a question, or if you want to, share a comment or just let us know how you enjoyed the show. We would love to hear from you. And this is Spirituality Gone Wild. We are a channel that is dedicated to using all of our platforms to raise the levels of compassion, gratitude, joy, love, kindness, and peace on earth. So if you're new to Spirituality Gone Wild, please like our page and you'll get notifications when we are live. We have incredible guests every week, every day. Every day we have incredible people coming together and really bringing this beautiful unity consciousness into into this reality. So I would love, thank you for being here, Rosa Albert. Do you have any questions? Melanie Klein, thank you for finding us. We're so glad you're here. I know that it's a wonderful experience to be able to utilize these platforms that we each have to really amplify the message. So I'd love for you guys to each take a moment to amplify your message and really take this platform and use my platform and use my beautiful, beautiful community to really amplify your message and let me know if there's anything I can be of service to, you know, support you in any of your endeavors, any of your you know, events. And, you know, we can post everything on Spirituality Gone Wild, and, you know, we can put you guys on the calendar. So let us know when you have things going on.
Yes, I was going to mention that. I'm glad you mentioned the calendar, because there are some resources that have been created for exactly that, to allow our collective, you know, getting the word out collectively. So the Global Unity Calendar is a unique platform that was created with that in mind. So anyone on this call now can actually post an event that you have coming up with, let's say, with your organization, or even an event that you are aware of that you would like to promote. You can post that. It's a public international calendar. There is an approval process, but that's it. That just takes a few hours. But you can actually post your own events and let people know what's going on. And the events can be within any of the 11 categories or the 11 themes for change that we were talking about before. And they range from spiritual events to activist events. They could be cultural events. Because part of creating a culture of peace is to have music and the arts doing what musicians and artists and performers and dancers do. So the calendar is actually shared with other organizations as well. So if you go to we.net and post on the Global Unity Calendar, it actually shows up on the Compassion Games calendar and vice versa, and other groups that have synchronized their calendars with us. So it's really a great tool to get the word out. And you can post announcements there. You can do fundraising there. The other thing is, we do have the 11 campaigns for change. If you have an organization that is working in one of these areas, like environment or human rights or peace or unity, you can sign up your organization, and we do many kinds of collective action together with the organizations, and you can be listed in the directory. So, and we all have platforms, but I just want to mention those.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And Kurt, what would you suggest as in closing here for people?
Well, for sure, Light on Light, when you take a look at Light on Light magazine, it's going to have all of these sections that are asking for input. And that's all the way from personal stories to transformation stories to activist stories to fiction. There's a directory for people meeting each other relative to.
Is there a place for submissions that people
Absolutely.
can write in?
Just again, if you go to the magazine itself, It's all laid out. There's an invitation in every section. And you can find out more, like I said, by writing the editor at editor@lightonlight.us. But when you take a look at the magazine, you'll see that every section has an invitation to where we're going with that to invite in more voices. And actually, issue 2 is going to be on emerging communities. So we're going to be featuring 10 to 15 emerging communities all around the world, which exemplify where this new way of being together is going, either in virtual communities or real-time communities. So that's really exciting.
That is really exciting. Andrew, what would you like to say in closing here?
I love you, Karen. You're awesome.
I love you.
I love all of you, Karen, Kurt, Rick, Jody, everybody.
I love all of you so much.
Well.
Yeah, so grateful.
So yeah, I just want to repeat that the event is happening on Saturday, April 21st from 6:30 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. in New York City at 114 East 35th Street at the New York New Church. And the website for information and tickets is at planetheart.org. And you can also email me at earthday@wetheworld.org. So in closing, just want to say that I really feel that unity consciousness is a very powerful energy. I mean, and by infusing that energy and really understanding that we're all one, I really feel that, there'll be more peace on earth, and that we'll be able to come together and realize our differences and accept our differences, but also realize that we're connected to not only each of us, but also all of the plants, animals, and minerals, and Mother Earth.
Beautiful. And Jody, what would you like to say in closing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have this new friendship with all of you. I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much for having us all. For me, I do a lot of events, and I do individual work and small groups, but I also produce bigger events that I do, and also along with other people like Andrew, and also part of FIONS, we do events as well. So if you want to get on my mailing list, you can just go to my website. You can sign up on there. You'll get all the information that I do and put out there. And my website is www.jodiserota.com, JODISEROTA.com. And the last piece I would like to just say is, in terms of us all connecting on the planet, my sense is that the key to that is always to keep your heart wide open. And mostly as humans, it's really hard for us to allow for that, to feel as deeply as we have the ability to, and to feel connected. But the true connection I work with the multidimensional heart, the gateway to the multidimensional heart. The way to feel your connection to everything, whether it's to other humans, to the earth, inside the earth, beyond the earth, guides, all the animals and the trees and nature, anything of consciousness. The key is really to keep your heart as open as possible. So just keeping that in mind, you'll always feel connected and never alone, and to know that we're here together to make this happen. And whatever's happening, we're all here together. We're connected to each other. So wherever
we absolutely are. Yes, we are. And I'd love to share what one of our audience members just wrote. It's a beautiful message to all of you. Rosa says, I want to get more involved and be part of this ascension. So excited to be part of this moment. I'm grateful for all of you and all your help in this awakening. All of you are so inspiring. Thank you, Rosa. Rosa is she has a wonderful business in Florida that is so if you could help us, Rosa, by sharing this out and letting people know over there on the East Coast that this is going to be a wonderful event that's going to be happening in New York City, that would be really great. Anybody who's watching this, realize that when you share this on timeline and when you share this in your groups, you are helping to grow this beautiful movement. And remember that one person who's vibrating with love in their heart, with peace on their mind and with kindness in their actions is counterbalancing 750,000 people who are in the low vibration of fear and shame and bigotry and that illusion of separateness. When we are connected here, we are the most powerful force of love and light. And so if you're watching this and you feel inspired, please share the broadcast because it adds to the light and takes away from the illusion. And that's what this is. That's why I do this show. It's why I've done the show. It's why I started the Global Kindness Revolution. It's why I connected with Rick. It's why I connected now with Andrew and Kurt and Jody. And now we have this beautiful circle, and I will have these guys back on, I hope, again and again to share more wonderful, wonderful good news. Global Kindness Going Viral is all about you. It's about you becoming part of the solution and knowing that kindness is powerful. And when you're kind and loving and gentle with each other, that's going to change our planet. So think about that as you go to sleep tonight, wherever you are and in whatever beautiful part of the world you are in. Just think about what we talked about here and think about how the little seed was planted in Andrew. The little seed was planted in Rick. The little seed was planted in Kurt. That little seed was planted in Jody, and that little seed was planted in me. And now you have a seed being planted in you. And there's something that you feel called. There's something that you're feeling so inspired right now and so uplifted because it's who you really are. And once you remember who you really are, then you can't sit on the sidelines anymore. It's just not possible.
Amen.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, once you know who you are and you remember who you really are, you can't sit on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah, waking up, growing up, showing up, and cleaning up.
I love that. And Rick, what is the slogan? Let's make it so that let's have it.
Yeah, Jonathan Granoff.
I love that slogan.
Jonathan Granoff, at the launch of the We campaign, he said, "I hope that we expands so much that there is no longer any them."
So beautiful. Yeah. Let's get over that old paradigm until that day. Awesome, Kurt. Until that day. Yes. Let's hold that vision that we did, that beautiful little meditation that we did together. And thank you for that moment of stillness and that beautiful connection and this beautiful hour that we've had together. Thank you so much. I cherish this time, and I really value each and every one of you for being here and for being a part of this beautiful growth as we really, here we grow, as Heidi says, here we grow.
Yes.
Right. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thank
Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.